If you care for your life, you're going to have to run. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Turn heads, breaknecks with ads that slay. Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. I am the media playboy, girl with the media vibes, and today I'm going to be reviewing a movie I had been waiting for so long, and that is The Watchers 2024. So let's get started. Okay guys, so The Watchers is a 2024 movie that generally talks about four people who struggle to survive in a forest that is said to be haunted, or not said to be haunted, but that is actually haunted by the Watchers, who were actually fairies in the past, right? So from the beginning of the movie, we see a young guy that finds himself in the forest, and then he keeps on going further. I don't know, probably he thought that he'll be able to make it before nightfall, because it looks clearly that he wanted to get there, you know, explore around, see what people are probably talking about, and then be back before nightfall. But the truth is, anybody that gets into there, there's no chance of coming out of that forest. So literally you're missing for life, right? So of course, as the guy gets in deeper into the forest, it's getting late, and then he can't find his way back. So he's obviously lost, and then of course starts hearing noises of the Watchers, and soon he's dragged into their hole, right? So now the main character, Mina, is the next person that we end up seeing. She has a twin sister, and she and her sister and her mom, they had an accident when they were much younger, so she still feels guilty about the accident. It's just something like where you feel guilty about something and then the thing keeps on haunting your mind. So she's more of an introvert, and you know, just keeps to herself, trying to move on from that incident, and she keeps on blaming herself for that incident, right? So she, of course, has a friend who wants her to watch the parrot. So she goes to the store, gets the parrot, then is on her way to, I think she was supposed to deliver the parrot to someone. I can't really remember exactly how, but I felt she was supposed to deliver it. So she gets into her car, is on her way, and then she finds herself in that same forest, just like the first character. So she looks around, she's not able to find a way out. You know where you just get somewhere, then you're lost. So the next thing is, of course, it gets nightfall comes, and then no way back, and the car is not starting, because there's a certain point in the forest that you get to that you can't, your car won't move, certain things won't work, and you can't even find your way back, right? So of course she starts hearing noises, and obviously she knows that something is out there, but she doesn't know what exactly. So Mina is played by Dakota Fanning. That's her real name. And sometimes I kind of confuse her with Amanda Seyfried. I just used to think that they were the same people. But when I actually researched, I saw that there was a difference between the two. So no, they are not the same people, and they're not even related, right? So she then encounters Madeline, an elderly lady who has been in that forest for so long, and then the lady gives her, a countdown to run into the house, because once it's nighttime, they can't open that door anymore. That's when the Watchers are at their full capacity, but they don't come out during the daytime, right? So once she's let into the house where they have been staying, Madeline then introduces Mina to two other characters, Daniel and Kiara, which I actually thought was Sierra, but I mean, it's Kiara in the movie. Yeah, so These characters have also been in the forest for a while, and to me, I think Daniel actually suffers a mental condition. They say the forest tries to get the worst out of you, or something like that. So then they all have to line up, and then the watchers are observing them, and they think that they're actually entertaining the watchers. Meanwhile, the watchers are trying to make, duplicate, or copy their exact body type, and sometimes they make mistakes. So they keep on watching them every night to know areas where they can improve. The only thing here that puzzles me is after you've copied them or you're trying to duplicate them, what happens at the end of the day? Because the watchers can't leave the forest. So it's just like having those human forms and maybe deceiving people. I don't know, maybe something like that. But I didn't really see why they would want to stress themselves copying people when they know that they can't even go into the real world to replace them. Or maybe they had faith that someone would be their savior and be able to set them free from the forest. I don't know. So as time goes by, they've been there for days, and all Mina is thinking about is how to leave the forest. She doesn't want to stay there, and she's wondering how did these people even cope, like to stay this long. So one of the days, she and Daniel go on a hunt, and then they get into the hole of the watchers and find, things that people have left there for so long, and brought out a couple of things from there, like a bicycle and a couple of other things. So this kind of triggered the watchers at night, right? And they also try to use a camera, set cameras, to see how they actually look and to understand what's really going on and what they want from them. So she, Daniel, Kiara, they set the camera, and once it's nighttime, they're all running back into the house so that they are not caught by the watchers. And then in the process, Kiara actually found herself in the forest with her husband, right? So she has been believing that he's somewhere out there and he's still alive and all that. So the watchers now try to deceive her because one of the watchers has already taken the form of her husband, and then through the camera, she says, "Let me see your face," and she sees his face. But when she now asks him, like, personal questions about both of them and he's not able to answer, it's now obvious that the guy is not her real husband, it's just one of the watchers. So of course the watchers are angry, like they crossed the line and they didn't obey their rules, and then they're trying everything to get into that cabin. But luckily for them, in the process of trying to hold the door still and find a solution, they find a hidden basement under that particular building. So they all get into the basement and discover that a sometime professor of a university had been there for so long, food, recordings and everything like that. So after they came across the tapes, Mina is watching the tapes with everyone, and then they discover that there's actually a way out of that forest, which is they start during the day, and then once the birds are already like, should I use the word closing for the day? I don't know. But they are supposed to follow the birds, supposed to get to the river. There, they're going to see a boat that will take them out of that place. So, they all plan it, and the following morning they set out to leave the forest because nobody wants to stay there any longer. And then the professor also asked them that whoever gets the tape, whenever they get out of the forest and to the university, they should delete everything he had already researched about the watchers' rights. So Mina, Madeline, Kiara, and Daniel set off to find a way out of the forest following the professor's instructions, because the professor did not make it alive. He was shot dead. So I'm still going to come back to that particular part. I think that was where the plot twist happened, right? So they all get into the boat except for Daniel, who was deceived that, he thought he saw his brother. Meanwhile, it was the watchers, right? So they all have to hurry. Madeline, Kara, and Mina all hurry up into the boat, and of course the watchers can't leave the forest. So that is the end of it, right? So when they came out and they were seeing buses and people, the first time they got into the bus, something in my head was like, because then I didn't know they couldn't leave the forest. The watchers couldn't leave the forest. So the first thing that came into my head is, what if everybody inside this bus is actually one of the watchers, right? But I think at a point everything seemed normal, so everybody gets back into town, continues their normal life, and then Mina goes to the university, to do what the professor says. In the process of searching through the professor's research box and all that, she then discovers that Madeline is actually the professor's wife, who died a very long time ago. So that means that the Madeline that came out with them is not the real one and is probably one of the watchers that they have actually set free, right? So it was then that I now started understanding what was really going on, right? So she goes to Kiara's house, to tell her about the information, thinking that it's Kiara, but at the end of the day, it was actually Madeline who had already shapeshifted to Kiara. So generally, at the end of the movie, what I just discovered is that the Watchers used to be fairies. They used to live amongst humans until some issues started happening, and then they were banished or something like that. And then one or two people probably got entangled with some of the fairies and started giving birth to half human, half fairies. So Madeline is actually half human, half fairy, because a human and a fairy mated and had the baby. So Madeline is the unique one amongst all the watchers. That's why she could leave the forest and the rest couldn't. So at the end of the day, of course, Mina tries to make her understand things and that, she's partly human and she should just go out there and discover herself or discover whatever she wants to do, something like that. And Kiara just came in the same second where Mina was, already processing, like trying to understand what was really going on. So that's how the movie ends, guys. To me, I would say, okay, yeah, there was that little plot twist. Not really a scary movie. I'll not say it was anything scary. I would also say, themes such as moving on, forgiveness, because at the end of the day, Mina still went back to her twin sister, to make peace and live with her and move on from the pain of she being the cause of their mom's death, right? And then I would also say illusion, because I feel like the whole fairy thing, living amongst humans, was just more of a biblical thing, during the time before the flood, during Noah's time, before the flood, where fallen angels had come, when angels were living with men and giving birth to half human, half angels, or, like giants and different things during that time, right? So these are just basically the things that I saw or noticed from the movie. I was going to go back to the professor thing, right? So the professor was missing his dead wife, and from part of the history of the Watchers when they were still good fairies, it was that kind of life whereby even if you had the loved one who died, the fairies could take their forms, right, and then replace them. So even when they die, you don't really feel that they're missing. But the Watchers never got it right, because sometimes maybe the fingers were not, the same numbers, the head shapes, different things, I don't know. But technically, the professor had captured one of the Watchers and was teaching that Watcher the ways of humans and how his wife was and how she used to look. So that Watcher took the time, formed themselves to be like his wife, and then killed him. So that was exactly how Madeline, the fake Madeline, came into the picture. So, yeah, it's a good movie. You can watch it. You can take a look and also drop your comments, so I also know other movies that you would like me to review on. See you next time on another episode of Twists and Tales, where every story takes an unexpected turn. Until then, go find your answer. Take it from your media playboy.